put this all together and go for the armbar. So we want to put them in this vulnerability of the 45 inside. So again, more than likely Carl's making a stiff arm. I can try to get the elbow inside. Again, I prefer to come up, and then I use my elbow to get a bend in his arm, and he just kind of make a little jump there. So once I have him at that angle, I can uncross. My right climbs, and then I bring my left over the shoulder into the top lock. Detail, I'm keeping the back of my knee tight on the shoulder, and then I hide it to here. So we know how to turn our heads if he does those reactions. Now from here, let's look for the armbar. So we know that we need to cover this wrist, because if I just try to hit the armbar, Carl starts to go for that modally on defense, and I'm never going to get it, even if I get to there. So that's the first thing we're thinking about, is once I actually get into the top lock, and I keep the hand on the collar for now, I'm bringing this over. Probably the main thing that's going to happen when you do get into the top lock is people rip their arm out. Okay, let's take it back a step. So the first detail we're thinking about is anytime I get into the top lock, I lift my hips. Put your arm out now, bro. So that's the first thing. Anytime I'm in this top lock, I can't have my hips on the mat. If my hips are on the mat, his arm's out. So the second thing we're thinking about, when I do make that 45 inside position, sometimes this hand is in the way. So I don't want to leave it in the collar. So the second detail is I actually take it out and I shoulder post on the shoulder here. Again, we talked about how my foot is coming across to touch the back of his head. Because it's Carl, we kick the back of his head. And now from that position, I windshield wiper my knee. So see the way my left knee is on the outside of Carl's right shoulder? When my foot comes over, I'm actually windshield wipering my foot. And then as this leg comes over, one more detail is, I keep my feet below my knees, but the other thing is, I want my knee above his ear. Anytime Carl's ear is above my knee, I've lost the armbar. So that concept of physically, if you keep your feet below your knees, it's going to be above his ear anyway, if that makes sense. So let's take it back again. So putting all that into perspective, I've got the grip, it's set up. Get my elbow on the inside, so we want to get him at 45 degrees, which is the perfect angle for the armbar. Okay. Then I get his elbow on the inside and I climb to the top lock. Again, I cover the leg that's in the shoulder with the other foot, and the detail is I lift my hips and pinch my knees. Try to get your arm out, Carl. Now, I cover the wrist, that's the first thing. So even if he does get hand to hand, I still have the armbar. But he can't get that modally on defense. Okay? So once I'm here, my foot touches his head, and I windshield wiper my feet. So I've unified legs, my feet are pointing in the same direction. And now my leg has to travel just a very short distance to there to get the armbar. If you think I was traditionally taught, where I bring this across, I make a grip, I put the foot on the hip, the minute I turn the corner to there, look how far my leg has to travel. In that time, Carl's already putting his arm out, and I've lost the armbar. Whereas when we think of the top lock as a position, as a positional control, right? So, which leads to the armbar. So again, once I actually get into the top lock, my hips are lifted, I pinch with my knees, then I look to cover that wrist. And then I don't want this hand, the second detail is, so I just shoulder post here. Sometimes I can push on his head, okay? And then when I windshield wiper my feet to get my feet in the same direction, this one comes over. And then the two details of finishing is, I want my feet below my knees. Yes, pinching your knees is good, but the feet below the knees is everything. And my back of my knee over his ear. Again, the worst thing, back in the early days of jiu-jitsu, I would never have went for this armbar because people would have just stacked me. Start stacking, bro. And then you're a real bad back. So all I do is my feet are lower than my knees. Start to stack, bro. I just lift my hips. I can take the armbar anytime I want. Okay? So let's add that into the drill.